Krista Tomlinson, indie published romance author. Welcome to my first writing vlog. Today I am going to be working on draft 2 of my book 2 in the Sanguine Syndicate Vampire Mafia Romance series. For me, draft 2 means this is the draft after I've done the free write, where I've kind of gotten everything, just like the original thoughts down, basically a really fleshed out outline. Once I have that done, then I like to go ahead and go through and read through the draft and kind of look and see what needs to be filled in, what needs to be added, characters that need to be put into the story and names and things like that need to be filled in. So really this can be considered the fleshing out draft. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. I like to divide my whips up into sections to make it easier for me to break down, so it's not this one giant manuscript that I have to work through, which can be overwhelming as a writer. Just like, oh, I have to finish the manuscript. No, if you just break it down and it's like, oh, I have to finish this section, then that makes it a lot easier. So I've already done draft 2 for chapters 1 through 9. This book currently has 36 chapters. That probably will change by the time I get to the final version, but for right now I'm at 36. I've already done 1 through 9, so I'm going to be working on 10 through 18 today and over the next few days, because obviously I'm not going to get all that done in one day. Wouldn't that be nice if I could? But I'm going to be working on 10 through 18 over the next few days. This is this part of the story where they've kind of really deepened, getting to know each other. It is a slow burn, so they're kind of deepening, getting to know each other, and kind of working its way to the center of the story. So it's not really that. Not quite yet to that hard part, that's middle, that's really difficult to write. We're not quite to that part yet. This is still more of a build-up section after the introduction. So that's what I'm going to be working on. I really like a lot of the stuff that I've come up with in these chapters. So basically, for this series, if you have not already read the first one, this is the Vampire Mafia series. So it really leans more towards contemporary than it does paranormal. I wanted it to have kind of like a really sleek mafia vibe, but really more of the aesthetics. It's very low angst, as a high angst book in book 2, and then book 1 was low angst. So basically the entire series is going to be low angst, and although it's got some paranormal aspects in it, obviously because the main heroes are vampires, I really wanted to just have that be more of a real kind of sexy aesthetic feeling to the story than as opposed to really hardcore paranormal. So that's what I was kind of going for here. So in this series, we have in this book we have two characters, Raul and Jisoo, and Raul is the vampire character, and he's part of the Sanguine Syndicate Mafia or mob. In his role, he's really involved with the casinos, and he's a natural born vampire, which are rare. He's a natural born vampire from way back. I don't want to give too much away of the story, but he's very old, and he's from the continental North America, and he also has a really big ranch. The story is set out in Michigan, so he's built this really big ranch, and he brings Jisoo to his ranch, and that's the main setting of the story, the main area where they fall in love with each other. So I've really with 1 through 9, I kind of got the story set up. Jisoo is there on the ranch. They've kind of gotten to know each other. They've embarked on their relationship because Jisoo is a blood pet, which in this series basically are humans who kind of loan themselves out to vampires for a particular amount of time to serve, as a blood donor. So that is what the role that Jisoo currently has with Raul. And so we've got that part already established, and so 10 through 18 will be chapters where we're sorry, that's my dogs. 10 through 18 are chapters where they're going to be settling into that, and things will be changing from what they've kind of established in the beginning. So what I'm going to be doing first is reading through chapters 10 through 18, because I have not looked at these for a while. It's been some time since I've looked at 10 through 18, since I've been looking at 1 through 9. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself a cup of coffee, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. The first session went really well. It feels good to be working on a project where the words and the scenes are coming to me a lot easier. Not that writing is, ever easy, but this is going a little bit more smoothly for me. With this couple, I really feel like they're a couple that matches what I like to write. As far as the archetypes I like to bring, mix up with my couples. I have a few different that I like, and this couple is one of them. I mentioned previously in the video that I did, well, which you may have seen. If not, I will link it below, where I talked about how the original book that I had planned for book 2 in the series, I ended up canceling it because it just wasn't working for me. The characters weren't gelling for me. I wasn't feeling where they were coming from because I was writing character types that didn't work for me and that I'd like to write. And I was just kind of really fighting that story. And so now it feels really good to be in a story that I'm not fighting, because I like the story that I'm working on and the characters that are in the story really vibe with what it is that I personally like to bring to the table. So it's going a lot smoother for me, and I'm really enjoying writing this story. So I cannot wait to kind of get a little bit more involved. To have the first 10 chapters done, and once by the time I finish with this section, it'll be the first 18 chapters, and then to move on to the second half. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little break, and then I will get some of those changes that I wrote by hand into the computer. Okay, so day one of draft two, section two went well. I think I got pretty much all of the draft, or excuse me, chapter 10 kind of really filled in. Still got a little bit to do and kind of started on the other chapters as well. I got the handwritten changes typed in for chapter 10, so that's a good feeling. So it feels good to have, um, when you're writing chapters that are going well. The next one that's coming up is going to be a little difficult, so it's good that I got to start off with one that was fairly simple for me to do. Before I wrap this up, I thought I would share with you some of the writing that I did today. Of course, it's still a rough draft. It's not, edited. It's not proofed. It's not even fully fleshed out yet. So don't expect it to sound like it would in the book. But I just thought, just can see just a little bit of what it is that I've been working on during this writing vlog. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you a little bit of the scene with Raul and his homies. It had been a little over 3 weeks since he'd fed. He was going to have to do something about it soon. The telltale grumpiness and zoning out was starting to appear. Vampires could go various periods of time without drinking from a human, depending on their age and other factors. He was older and a natural-born vampire, which meant he can go longer than most, especially young ones. But because of his size, his body needed blood more often than other vampires his age. But he would be fine for a few more nights. Tonight he was in the syndicate's underground casino. Latoria, Everett, and Peter, fellow members of the syndicate, had all stopped by. Everett had brought his blood pet Solon along with him. They sat at a private table with Raoul playing the role of dealer. Solon sat on Everett's lap, his red hair shining beneath the lights over their card table. Peter's ever-present bodyguard stood a few paces behind his chair. "Why are you so tense?" Everett asked Raoul. "I'm not tense." "I think Everett is right," Peter said. "Normally you're laid back and joking, but tonight you're quiet and kind of moody. Are you having trouble with one of the casinos?" "That's not it." Latoria tilted her head to the side as she stared at Raoul. "He needs to feed," she declared firmly. Peter raised an eyebrow in surprise. "I've never known you to go without feeding. And aren't Linda and Alan staying with you again?" "You're out of the loop, Peter," Everett said as he accepted the hand of cards Raoul dealt him. "Linda and Alan departed so that he could bring in a new snack." "Who?" Raoul answered. "His name is Jisoo. He had a blood patron who got rough with him, so I bought out his contract to get him away from him." "And he's staying with you?" "Yes. As a blood pet." "Technically. Then why haven't you fed from him?" Peter asked in genuine confusion. Raoul sighed. "I didn't take him into my home to feed off him. I did it to help him." "Have you drank from him at all?" Latoria asked. "Once." "And how was it?" Raoul thought back to that night when he tasted Jisoo's blood for the first time. I haven't written the next sentence yet. "And you think you can resist taking from him again while he's there in your home?" "I will, because that's what's best for him." Raoul was firm in his decision on that. He wanted Jisoo to be safe and healthy, not doing something that would hurt him either mentally or physically. Latoria looked at him with her finely arched brows drawn in question. "Does he want to feed you?" "He said that he did." Peter laid his cards on the table, giving up all pretense of focusing on the game. "Then why don't you take what he's offering?" "I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself with him," Raoul answered honestly. "You think you might drain him?" Raoul quickly shook his head. "No, never that. It's almost as if I want him too much. I've never felt that way with any of my blood donors." He didn't voice the thought aloud, but he was a little freaked out by the intensity of his desire for Jisoo's blood. "That doesn't sound like a bad thing." "It's not," Everett said as he stroked a thumb over the vein at the base of Solon's throat. So that's just a little bit of book two for Sanguine Syndicate from Raoul's point of view. So I will get back to working on that and get it finished, hopefully within the next few days for the next for this section, and then I'll move on to the next. So other than that, I hope you guys have enjoyed hanging out with me today and seeing a little bit of my writing process, and I will see you next time. Bye.